I now call Iberia Parish Council meeting to order for September 13, 2023. The current time now is 6 o'clock. We'll have the prayer led by Councilman Mathurin and the pledge led by Mr. Leslie Landry. Mr. Mathurin.
Lord of heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Mr. Landry.
Veterans, present arms. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Landry.
arms.
Mr. Landry, if you can just state the branch of service that you represent.
U.S. Army, Vietnam, 1968 to 1970 in country.
Thank you for your service, sir, and thank you for being here. Madam Clerk, please initiate the roll call.
Tommy Pollard. Here. Michael Landry. Here. Marcus Broussard. Here. Lloyd Brown. Here. Warren Gotchison.
Here.
Natalie Broussard. Here. Paul Landry. Here. James Trahan. Here. Scott Rossene. Here. Eugene Olivier. Here. Brian Napier. Lady Fontenay Brown. Here. Scott Sonye. Chad Mathurin.
Here. We have 12 members in a quorum. I'll need a motion to go into public comments. I have a motion by Councilman Pollard, second by Councilman Rossene. Roll call, members, for public comments. Councilman Brown, Councilwoman Brown. That motion carries. We're now into public comments. Number one, comments from general public on non-agenda items. We did not receive any. Number two, comments from general public on agenda items. Anyone at this time did not have an opportunity to fill out a speaker participation card? Hearing none. A, persons being considered for appointment to parish boards and commissions to address the council. We did receive requests from Mr. Bart Broussard to be reappointed to the Airport Commission.
Hey, good evening, y'all. Good evening. I'm Bart Broussard. 5 years ago, y'all appointed me to the Airport Commission. In my opening comments back then, I said something like the airport's a diamond in the rough. A couple guys or some snickered and saying, yeah, we've heard that before. Y'all are right. For years, we've heard the airport's a diamond in the rough. I'll tell you over the last 5 years what we've been working on out there, and I think we made a lot of progress and a lot of good things. First of all, we grabbed some good administrative staff that we didn't have. We had turnover and there was issues, so we brought in some good office people that do a great job maintaining it day to day, rarely drop the ball, always organize, and do really a phenomenal job. We brought in a director because we were in an interim director at the time. Mike Tarantino was running the operation for us just until we could find somebody. We did a national search, found Mo Sanji, who came in from the East Coast in strong aviation background. After interviewing 12 or 13 people, he was the best for the job. He's done a great job. We're lucky that he's a Louisiana guy, so we think he'll stay in Louisiana for a while longer, and we don't have to worry about that turnover anymore. Some of the other things we did was the Pelican Aviation was a aviation resident of the parish for about 75 years. Great company, did a good job for a long time, but we looked up and their lease was really outdated. The terms were bad for the airport and the parish. So with that, we went to them and says, hey, we need to beef up your operation. Some of us on the commission had a dream of really competing against Lafayette and Signature Air because they have good jet service, they burn a lot of fuel. We wanted those fuel sales. So we were trying to find a company that would compete against Signature. And we were lucky and we found two companies with a national search. One of them was Freeman Air. Freeman's at the airport now, signed a good long-term lease with us, and they're building a magnificent facility. We will be competing with Signature Air down the road, who's full. Lafayette's pretty much full. We have all this land, as y'all know, so we have the opportunity to accommodate and get some of that corporate jet traffic, general aviation, and down the road try and get some more commercial activity. So that's worked out well. And the way, I got to tell you, Pat did a great job when we were negotiating the lease with Freeman. Our problem was Pelican didn't want to give it up. So we figured out an asset sale between the two parties and allowed Pelican to extract as much as they could out of the tenure that they'd been there. and put them together with Freeman. Freeman benefit from some of those same things, and the airport benefited because we picked up our revenue by about 3 times what we were getting before, and we're getting a multi-million-dollar facility that the parish/airports commission will own during the term of this lease. So that's some of the things. Avex, y'all know Avex has been there for a good while. Great company. It's owned by a gentleman out of Florida now. He was doing just refurbs on these commercial planes or cargo planes. He's since done a lot to bring in passenger planes and convert those to cargo planes. So they're refurbing electronics, engines, paint jobs, pulling the seats, patching the windows, all right here, and they're expanding their operation to hire more people. Hangars. We have multiple small general aviation hangars out there. We've done a good job of filling them up. One of the problems we had when Mo first got there, we started realizing some of the leases and the terms weren't being enforced. And it was pretty frustrating because tenants would vacate the properties and we'd have a property that wasn't in good shape because of deferred maintenance and nobody was monitoring it. So now we have a system in place with these leases. We've also upgraded our leases a lot that were out of date. These leases are being monitored now, so if a roof needs to be changed or a tenant's not repairing a leak or somebody's not doing it, we have checks and balances in place to make sure that our improvements out there maintain its value and we can continue to raise our rents over time. I could get into more, and I'm not gonna because y'all have a long meeting. I'll tell you, I've enjoyed it for the last 5 years. I enjoy the commission that y'all put together. I enjoy Pat's pit bull attitude sometimes when it comes to making sure the airport's protected and things good happening. I am excited about what else we're all talking about negotiating now with the elephant in the room being First Solar. I think there's a lot of upside there for the airport as well as the parish, provided we structure it correctly and everybody is protected in the long run, or short run and long run with that project. But anyway, I have enjoyed it. Hope that y'all keep me out there for another 5 years. If y'all so want me to, I will do it. The pay's not good, but I do enjoy the job. So.
Members, at this time, are there any questions for Mr. Broussard? Seeing no requests come up on the screen. Thank you for your service to our community, sir. We appreciate it. We also do have a request by Mr. Jimmy Lewis, who is also applying for the Iberia Parish Airport Authority Board. Mr. Lewis, if you can just state your full name and address, please.
Jimmy Lewis, 1116 Honeycomb Drive, St. Martinville, Louisiana. I live in Cade. I own a hangar there at the airport on the north side. I've been there for a couple years now. To give you a little background about myself, I've been in the community here for over 25 years, worked for Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office for quite a few years, worked at the port and stuff, and now I own a business called Cajun Broadband. We bring fiber internet to the home as well as fixed wireless, which has been doing very well. We now have Koto fired up and over 150 people hooked up and continue hooking up every day. So also a 10-year Army veteran, combat veteran, Desert Storm. Spent most of my time overseas in places we don't want to talk about. So, you know, it's boots on the ground is how I started, and luckily Fort Polk brought me to Louisiana, and this is the place where my wife and I decided we wanted to raise our children. At the airport, I'm an avid pilot. About 6 years ago, I finally got my license, a lifelong dream to be a pilot. You know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot in the Army. That didn't quite happen. Instead, I shot down aircraft. So now I'm at the other end flying aircraft, you know, for pleasure and business, and really enjoy the airport, you know, here in New Iberia. It's 5 minutes from the house. Great people out there, very accommodating. The airport staff and everyone, great people. Worked close with Mo. The Bristol hangar, when I first got in there, Bristol was there. They wasn't doing a whole lot with the hangar. You know, I approached those guys and talked to them about vacating that property or that lease so we could start bringing in more aircraft so we could have more flights coming in and out of the airport, because I knew it was important. That's kind of our total count that comes in through the airport. So it worked out real well. We was able to get them out of the lease and take over the lease there at the hangar. You know, currently the hangar's full. We have 2 jets in there and 6 other single engine aircraft that, you know, are flying every day. We also are looking at starting doing a air show there in New Iberia at Iberia Parish. That is starting to get organized and come along now that the jets are back from the air show. And so got an email that there was an opening position on the airport authority, and I feel that I could bring a lot to the authority as a successful businessman and being involved in Iberia Parish for over 20 years, involved with Boy Scouts here in Iberia Parish, as well as, everywhere else in the council, in the Evangeline area. So there it is about me. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to take them.
Members, are there any questions for Mr. Lewis at this time? Seeing no request on the screen, Mr. Lewis, we thank you for wanting to serve the community. Hearing no other requests for applications for boards and commissions, I'll ask for a motion to go back into regular session. I have that by Councilman Rossini and a second by Councilman Landry.
I do have one. I sent an application. I emailed it to Miss Brenda Andrew Derwan from Spanish Lake Commission.
Okay, Mr. Derwan, you can, I'm sorry, members, I apologize. You can come to the,
Super quick. Andrew Derwan, live in Iberia Parish. I was appointed to the Spanish Lake Commission 2 years ago. I'm just in front of you guys today for a reappointment for 2 years. Not very much going on in the lake right now. It's pretty quiet. We had some issues with a custodian. She actually resigned effective July 31st. Stayed in touch with her before her resignation. She actually started up again earlier this week, which is a good thing because the position's pretty much impossible to fill. There's no pay involved in it, but she was willing to come back, and hopefully she stays with us just to keep the gates open down there. And that's really about it. Thank you.
are there any questions for Mr. Derwan at this time, members? Seeing no request on the screen, thank you for serving our community, sir. Let's try this one more time. I need a motion to go back into regular session. Let's try it again. Okay. Done. Okay, I have a, go ahead, member. Wait, I need to get a motion again. I accepted and I relinquished it. Okay, go ahead, members. I have a motion by Councilman Olivier. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Michael Landry. Roll call vote, members, to go back into regular session. Councilman Brown? That motion carries unanimously. We're now back into regular session. Community events and public service announcements. Number 1, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Thomas Falgu with Iberia Parish Chamber of Commerce to announce the 33rd World Championship Gumbo Cook-Off.
Mr. Falgo, if you can just state your name and title for the record, please.
Thomas Falgu, President and CEO, Greater Iberia Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Good to be here twice a year. One time to talk about the chamber, one time to talk about Gumbo Cook-Off. Gumbo Cook-Off, 33 years. It's probably going to be another big one. Hopefully it's not as hot. Hopefully it's not rainy. Hopefully have great weather like last year. In front of you have a lineup. 2 things we do. The 2-day lineup is on the big page. We also have a thing called the Sauce Bon Cooking Demonstration Dinner. It's been about 5 years now. It's inside Victor's. It's the only ticketed event to come to. It's a $50 for a person, $75 for a couple. It's great food. Chef John Reason with the Louisiana Culinary Institute will be there, and they're explaining what they're cooking and what they're doing. The chef Willie Gospot, I think I'm saying that right, with Cypress Bayou will be doing the dessert. There'll be music. There'll be Paul Shakespeare will be painting a scene of some type, and that takes place on the Saturday at Gumbo Cook-Off in Victor's from 4 to 7 p.m. Saturday all day long is Cajun Creole Food Fest from 10 to 7:30, 7 p.m. I'm sorry, is the I think I'm saying that right. The bands, and then we have 3 bands that day. You can see it on your list. Meanest Beans contest and the Youth Gumbo Cook-Off. Our whole idea with Youth Gumbo started a few years back to get our youth involved, and hopefully someday when they become adults, they'll want to cook gumbo at the Gumbo Cook-Off. It's sold out. There's 70-something teams again this year. Sponsorship, there's nothing else to sponsor. Every sponsorship I could have possibly got. Maybe I need one for the microphone, but everything's done. Sunday, it's all about gumbo. I will promise you, you will never find a better bowl of gumbo anywhere in the world than right here in New Iberia on that Sunday. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say. I'll answer any questions if anybody has any.
Members, are there any questions for Mr. Falgo at this time? Seeing no requests. Mr. Falgo, thank you for being
Thank
here.
y'all.
Next, number 2, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Pat Norris to give an update on Iberia Parish Regional Airport.
Mr. Chairman, if you can just state your name and title for the record, please.
Good evening, everybody. Patrick Norris, Iberia Parish Airport Authority Chairman. And I promise I won't be long tonight. Just a quick thing, right? A quick update right here. Not a lot to report right here, but I just wanted to show y'all some things right here. I didn't know that Bart was going to be speaking earlier right here, but he touched on our FBO right here. And I just want to give y'all an update to show the Freeman Jet Center. But last time I was here, y'all heard me speak about the renovation project that they were going to implement. Well, they have started it. This is what the FBO looks like today, or as of yesterday. They have completely gutted everything on the inside, from the building to the hangar, which is on the opposite side. Back on that side is the actual hangar on the other side of the FBO here. Pulled up all the cement on this side right here, took out all the utilities, all the air conditioning services, everything. Completely just everything. The only thing that's going to be left is going to be the steel structure. They are moving forward with it right here. You can see the different angles. They started pouring some cement right here. I believe they had an issue with the pour. Uh-oh. Did I do something?
You shouldn't have.
Yeah, I can see it's still there.
Click it again. You might have turned it off. It's still on.
My light's on. I always do it.
He might
I don't
have
want to
turned
keep
it
pressing
off.
buttons. I can click.
The power button is on the side.
It was just
It's
green.
showing red, and we changed the battery this afternoon. There we go. That should be it.
Anyway, while she's working on it right here, not to delay our meeting right here, hopefully the pictures can come up, because there's one at the end I definitely need. But anyway, you can see that, you saw the renovation process, project in process right here, and they are moving forward. They have currently moved into our terminal building as temporary services right now while they're in the process of this. They've had to rent out some additional of the fire bays to store some of their equipment and some of their operational gear.
It shouldn't be doing that. We checked it out this afternoon. We went all the way through to the end, and it worked.
You can keep going, Mr. Norris.
Okay.
If you can. I'll try to get it back on.
Anyway, there was just a few more slides on that to show you what was going on. And in the end, whenever, Bart did say right here that whenever we did the FBO agreement with them, we made some serious, significant changes. Part of the agreement was that they had to invest $2 million within 5 years of being at the airport. They made a year in March. In the first year, they jumped right into doing the design of the renovation right here, and working with them, we have Mo and I have bi-monthly meetings with the contractor and the Freeman Jet Center every other Thursday afternoon, and we're in discussions with them right now to make sure everything is proceeding along as expected. If there's any issues, we address them. But I can guarantee you that I have seen the budget, and I can honestly tell you that this project, they are spending shy of right at $5 million on this renovation right here. All in the building that is owned by you know, the airport authority, and all those improvements someday will become airport authority's renovations and assets. So they are by far living up to their expectations and ours. I'm glad to see that we feel comfortable that they see something in the airport by making that investment, because it is expensive. The last thing I wanted to address and really talk about right here, and I really wish I had my PowerPoint. I had a Google map of a portion of the airport in reference to the entrances and exits, ingress and egress of the airport. In light of and where I'm going with this is to talk about the Airport Boulevard train derailment. You know, they're close to wrapping up everything they have to do right here, and we started getting a bunch of calls from tenants and other companies on the airport as to, you know, what's going on, what's going to happen right here. We were hearing different things about the future of the crossing, and basically I'm here tonight to see what we do know, what we can be told, what the process is right here. That the Airport Boulevard crossing was not going to be reopened, is what we understand today. I'm not saying that's the final decision. When we heard this, I called and spoke to one of the district people, and I know we got some DOTD guys here today. I don't think any one of these guys is the one I spoke to about 2 weeks ago. He did tell me at the time that was the intent, that Airport Boulevard was going to be closed. Of course, speaking to our legislatures, and they're speaking to Baton Rouge, and as of today, the latest information I have is the decision might not be final. That it is reflecting back on a lot on what the Paris position may be. Not sure who's all involved with that right here, but as you know, we've got a lot of activity going on at the airport. We've got a lot more to come as things progress, and we have these new developments happening. I really think that we need to take a serious look at how the closing of that Airport Boulevard may have, and the pressure on the traffic count is going to put on the other two. I left our meeting yesterday afternoon, and I had to go up to 88 to normally I go down Airport Boulevard, but I have to go up to 88 and come back down 182 to get where I was going. And at 5:10, 5:15, traffic was from the railroad tracks to Admiral Doyle, almost to the four-way stop sign. And this is at 5:10 at 5:15. On 674 in, up at Kuiper's Curve, closer to where my facility is right here, I see traffic backed up from the railroad tracks all the way up to American Tank at various times. So it has put pressure on the other two intersections. As we continue to grow the airport, you know, it's only gonna get worse and increase. We understand the safety issues involved. We understand the condition of the railroad tracks, and in conjunction with 182 and the steep ramps and so on and so forth right here. All I'm asking is that, we take a look at it real hard. I don't know if anything can be done with these GPS systems and all these apps that people use with, like Waze when you're on the highway. It tells you when there's an accident. It tells you when there's a gas station, If we could maybe, and maybe DOTD can tell us that right here. If there's a way that truckers or anybody using GPS that's coming in from out of town, if we can even like X out that intersection on a map, but let the locals use it to where the majority of that is vehicular traffic. I know whenever I get freight in for my company right here, and I see trucks coming from that end of the airport, we go out and meet them and we talk to them, because the traffic, my logistics people that come regular to us know to come up 674 off of 182 or from the highway. So when I see trucks coming up this way, I'll go meet them and we talk to them and say, like, why did you pass this way? And everything is GPS told me to. GPS told me to. So I don't know if there's a way that we can block that on GPS to stop, logistics or just, out of towners from using that intersection. That might stop a lot of this, and maybe make it available for the local traffic. But anyway, I did exchange information with DOTD right here, and I don't think they're here to talk about that tonight, but I just want to put it on the table, bring y'all aware, bring it to your attention, and try to find out if what the position is or what's going on. I know Larry's been in discussion with DOTD in Baton Rouge also. He might be able to share some things and see, but something needs attention, needs to be addressed. And before we just jump up and say close it, take a look at what we have coming down the road. So, any questions?
Members, are there any questions for Chairman Norris at this time? Not seeing any on the screen. Mr. Norris, thank you for
All
being here,
right,
sir.
thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Moving on to reports from finance and administrative actions. There are none. Reports from parish or other governmental agencies. Number one, Madam Clerk.
Monthly building report for the month of August 2023.
Public Works reports. Number one.
Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated August 9th through 22nd, 2023.
Should have been in your packets, members. Moving on to special business. There is none. Council member announcements. The gentleman from District 10 is recognized on the announcements.
Thank you, Warren. I would like to ask my colleagues on the council in support, contacting our members of Congress in Washington in support of the 2023 Foreign Bill reauthorization, which is set to expire on September the 30th, 2023. With Congress already moving to develop a new bipartisan Foreign Bill package, I continue to work with NACO throughout the year along with our federal partners to ensure a new long-term Foreign Bill reauthorization that includes key country and parish priorities is signed into law in 2023. The last time the bill was reauthorized, passed was in 2018. There are 12 key components of this Foreign Bill. The ones that affect our farmer communities as follows: the crop insurance, the credit and trade, or what our local farmers depend on. Other titles like nutrition, forestry, rural development, research, extension service, and other related matters are other examples of what's included in the Farm Bill. I ask you to take time to contact their office in Washington in support of the reauthorization of the Farm Bill reauthorization program. Senator Cassidy number is 202-224-5824. And Congressman Clay Higgins is 202-225-2031. The more they hear from us, the better I think our farmers are going to be in this parish. Thank you.
The gentleman yields back. Gentleman from District 14 is recognized. Mr. Montran.
Yeah, if I may, I'd like to ask Mr. Weaver to come up and give us a little update on, I'm not sure how many of y'all are aware of a situation that's going on for Captain Cade. Lafayette Parish is trying to develop some property in Iberia. They went through planning and zoning, and maybe Jacob, you could just kind of enlighten y'all on it.
That request is met without objection. Mr. Weaver, if you could state your name and title for the record, please.
Jacob Weaver, Iberia Parish Permitting, Planning, and Zoning. So a little, just trying to clear up some confusion. They started a preliminary plat approval in Lafayette. I don't fully understand their direction on it, but the property at this is that it's at hand. You know, we're from this administration to that, we are formulating kind of like our whole position on it, like the taxable records, the 911 district, the emergency management, the public works. It's like, look, guys, not only is this, it's not just a no man's land, it's boundaried and taxed and all these things. So I don't want to kind of go into the light of like why they would be doing something like this, but you know, we're going to affirm our position on this, that if we don't agree with it, we hope they don't give them a final resolution at the council meeting coming up in a couple weeks. So they're at past planning, but they're going to be going before their council. So we're hoping we can interject before they lead this developer any further, because my position on it is our parish. If you're developing in this parish without our approval, we're going to have to do what we have to do, you know. So it hasn't been resolved yet between assessment lines. So the line is not a straight line, you know, it's a very jagged line. So it's just kind of, we're getting caught on, you know, it's an aggression, I guess, but we'll see what happens. It is a nice development. You know, they do have a lot of bells and whistles with it, you know, and they're spending the money because they're trying to do it in Lafayette. You got to meet a bunch of stuff, you know. So I think it was pushed to the residents real well. but I do think the only thing is in question is where does this property lie, you know, and it is clearly in Iberia Parish. So
I hate to put him on the spot, but I'm sure legal's in conversation with administration to having some
Yes, sir.
discussion with Lafayette Parish, correct?
yes, sir.
You just assume, Mr. Richards, this is,
If I can I say a
Please,
few things?
please.
absolutely.
Actually, letters being formed right now by Jacob, going to be addressed to the parish president in Lafayette. Ian's going to review that letter. The property is actually in Iberia Parish. This is something that we have been discussing for years. You are aware of what took place with the Vermilion Parish when we worked that thing for 90 years or plus. It was being discussed over 20 years since I've been on the council. This particular deal I found out about, I think it was Friday, is when Jacob called me. I think it was Friday. Actually, I got a text from someone in Koto that took a picture of a sign that morning and texted to me. And then I got a phone call that evening from Jacob. We have a long way to go. This is not the way it works at all. You don't just go into another parish and try to develop. It don't work like that. But anyway, I'm not going to talk much because we certainly have to get legal to look at this here.
Sure.
And
Okay.
make some.
Thank you.
Mr. Mathurin still has the floor, just,
I just wanted to just kind of touch on the situation a little bit. That way, if any of y'all weren't familiar, and just let the public know that it's being addressed.
you finished, Mr. Mathurin?
Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
gentleman yields back. Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Okay, Mr. Weaver, if you can come back up, let me just pause the board. Go back and recognize Councilwoman Broussard on the question for Mr. Weaver. For Mr. Weaver?
I understand what Mr. Richard's saying about y'all contacting or formulating a letter for the parish president, but has anybody been in touch with the developer? to
So that
say-
that was kind of the whole thing, was that the developer has contacted us from the beginning of the year, Koto Water. You know, they started peddling this to us. It had been peddled for years. They acquired some more property that gave them a lot more access on Captain Cade, so this development changed over the years. But no, you know, I think we've dealt with this developer before, the surveyors and things like that. But you know, I think the main thing is the kind of let's address it formally. But I do hope that we can reach out to the developer and everybody involved and say, hey, we would love to have you, you know, please just come to our desk and not that desk, you know. So we do need to try our best on that, you know, to keep this down, you know, to we're not necessarily leading this development into a brick wall, you know, and that's what I hope we don't do. So
Yeah, I mean, it just seems kind of simple to me. You tell the developer you applied in the wrong parish, come apply to us, you know.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
open.
Yep. Thank you. They think we're sleeping, but we're not.
Got one more question for you. Gentlewoman yields back. Councilman Landry, Michael Landry is recognized.
Lafayette Parish claiming this is part of Lafayette Parish.
They're using an old census line. I think that everybody's aware of this old census line. So that's, you know, they painting a picture right now of that. This is on the Lafayette side of a boundary, but that's not how the boundaries are assessed or drawn right now.
I do believe we talked about Vermilion Parish that we had to give some stuff away, and I think they just maybe it's open season on Iberia Parish. I think that's what we want. We need to tell them this is our boundary line. We collect the taxes, whatever.
We've had a really well unified effort on, you know, getting 911, getting the tax assessor. You know, everybody is foot forward on this. So I'm glad everybody's been supportive to try to slow it down. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Landry yields back. Councilman Paul Landry, did you have a question for Mr. Weaver?
How many acres is this development?
The first, the main track was 70-something acres, and I think at the beginning of the year it was around 250 homes. But it was the only access that they had at that time was from the end of General Patton. That was the whole deal breaker. They had no frontage on Captain Cade. This year they acquired another 14 acres, I believe, that fronted Captain Cade. So not only were they to add a lot more houses, you know, they had the whole Captain Cade access now where the main water line's at, and a lot less infrastructure that was having to get designed. And, you know, it was a really good pickup for them, you know, but
So to get
right.
To get it, is it all in Iberia?
It's all, every bit of it. The most recent property sold was filed here this year. You know, so the 15 acres that I'm talking about.
Councilman Landry, you finished? Yes. Councilman Landry yields back, and I think that's it for you, Mr. Weaver. Ms. Brown is recognized.
I have 3 announcements. The first one is I would like to extend my condolences to the family of our former District 12 councilman, Mr. Charles Williams Sr. He passed away over the weekend, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. Secondly, Dr. Kim Smith is organizing the first annual Philip Fest in memory of her 9-year-old son, Philip Dotrieve III. This event will raise funds for scholarships, also provide care packages for grieving parents, and provide resources to make sure kids grow up happy and healthy. The event is scheduled to take place on October 7th in St. Martinville at Magnolia Park. And then there's another festival on October 7th that is scheduled to take place in Jeanerette, and it is Louisiana's first international French Bread Festival. The Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser, stopped by in Jeanerette last week to kick off the festival. And if you want more information, you can go online at intlfrenchbreadfest.com.
The gentlewoman yields back. Councilman Rawsonay is recognized.
I just want to give everybody an update. For those of y'all that don't know, the mayor of Laurelville, Brad, had a couple surgeries this week. He had another one this afternoon. He is in a recovery room, so if you want to shoot him a text or call, I wouldn't call right now. He probably won't know who you are. But if you don't mind, shoot him a text tomorrow. Wish him the best of luck, because he does have to go through some more procedures next week or maybe the following week, depending. So that's it. Wish him well, and keep him in your prayers. Thank you.
Gentleman from District 9 yields back. Hearing no other council member announcements, moving on to the parish president announcements. Mr. Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to, first of all, I'm glad to be back here, to be honest with you guys. It's been a while since I've been here. Well, thank you so much. And of course, I'm not going to stay in here throughout the whole meeting. After I do my parish president's announcements, I'm going back to my office and look at y'all. Anyway, I'd like to invite the public to hear the results of the hydrologic study between St. Mary West Levee District and Iberia Parish Government. That's the $50,000 that you guys gave to do this study a while back. The drainage study includes results from areas south of Highway 90 in Iberia Parish and west Sharonton Canal in St. Mary Parish. Michael Bocado with the St. Mary West Levee District will be delivering the results to anyone interested in attending and coming to hear the results. This is going to take place on Monday, September the 18th at the Iberia Parish Council Chamber right here at 6 o'clock, Monday the 18th. It's going to be some good results. This is a very serious study that was actually done. And if any of you, the general public, want to come and get the results from that, I think you should attend that. I also would like to invite you to the ribbon cutting tomorrow, to be held at 10 o'clock at the intersection of Innovation Boulevard and the roundabout at 3212. That's going to be a pretty good deal. We've been working that project for quite some time. We had a name change in the road, so that's why it took a few extra months to get signs built, to put the signs Innovation Boulevard and also Access Way. But that's going to take place tomorrow at 10 o'clock. If you're available, try to come by, and it's going to be a big one for us. A lot of things are starting to happen at the airport, a lot. And we're looking forward to later on, starting in the first quarter of next year, the roundabout at 675 that's going to connect to Innovation Boulevard at the airport. So we have a lot of things going on. And while I'm talking about the airport, Pat mentioned some things earlier about the entry to the airport from Highway 182. I actually talked to the councilman, Marcus and I have been talking about this since the derailment, really. We have a lot that's going on in that particular area. It is a safety concern, it's a major safety concern, but I don't think you can, in fact, I spoke to someone with DOT today. I don't think we can just close the entry without getting input from some of the businesses and taking a look at everything that's going on right there. With some of the businesses that we have coming into Iberia Parish, we're gonna have some traffic issues. So I was on the phone yesterday with the Secretary of Transportation, trying to come up with different access into Iberia Parish and dollars to build some roadways and this, that, and the other. We should have another phone call on tomorrow with the secretary. I need to talk to him tomorrow because I have another meeting that's going to take place on Friday, and I have to have some answers for Friday. So the airport entry is a concern, major concern for Iberia Parish. But before we do anything, or before anything is totally done, it will, if it get to where we're talking about closing something permanently, it's a process. The parish council would be totally aware of what's going on. This isn't something, now how much we have, how much control we have, I have no idea. But as I find out what's going on, the parish council will be made aware of what's going on, so you can have some input. My personal opinion, we need to talk to the Halliburtons and the Schlumbergers and the Grecos and the AVACs and all of these particular companies, all of these companies there, and the airport board, and get input from them as to what it is that we should do in Iberia Parish, because it's going to create a lot of issues as far as traffic is concerned. Before I move on, I want to thank you, Councilman Lady Brown, for addressing and working with the administration, the city of Jeanerette, and also the charities on behalf of the families that was affected by the storm which occurred this past Friday. I really appreciate that, because when you called me, I was actually doing something else and you was on site. And it's a big deal. So to follow the meeting we had with Catholic Services and you, and we had some of the pastors and everyone else. In fact, I talked to Catholic Services today. I appreciate that. I appreciate when council members are going out and actually getting these things done. In fact, you and I, Marcus, had a conversation a while back on certain things that hopefully council members could start taking projects and start working projects and working with the administration and take a lead on it. And we can make more happen by doing that than the administration running all over the place trying to get stuff done and contacting public works. So thank you so much, and thank you for all of the council for everything that you're doing so far. We're currently meeting and putting together our capital outlay request for the 2024 legislative session. All of the requests need to be submitted before November the 1st. If any of you have anything that you would like me to put in capital outlay for a request, y'all need to let me know. And I tell this to every department, because the way it works is we put out the capital outlay request and we prioritize it. It's prioritized with the Senate, and it comes down from there. And the administration actually prioritize what's going on, and if I don't know what it is that's happening, I can't help. So I got to know what it is, what everyone is actually trying to do. The next thing here is DOT, Mr. Chairman. Before I do this with Mr. Chairman, let me talk about this one. We're currently meeting with the department heads, and we're going over the budget for the 24 fiscal year. We're starting to do all of that right now. We're going to bring this to you, Mr. Chairman, and the council on October the 9th. And let's try to move this thing and get this budget taken care of. For the most part, everyone know the budget. We work closely throughout the year with all of the parish councilmen, making them aware of what's actually going on in this budget. Right now, Mr. Chairman, what I want to pass on to you is that DOTD is here. We actually request some members from DOT to come to the last meeting. They couldn't come because of the train derailment that we had, but they're here right now to talk about Highway 90 construction project and what we can expect in the event of emergency. Now, I'm not exactly sure who's going to speak.
Yeah,
but
without objection, Mr. President, if they can just step to the mic and state their name and title for the record.
Thank you.
My name is Eric Dauphiné. I am the District Engineer and Administrator for DOTD District 03, 8 Acadiana Parish. Acadiana parishes in Acadiana region. This is our traffic engineer, Mr. Nick Frugier, and our area engineer who is over Iberia, St. Mary, and Vermilion parishes is Mr. Jeff Faust.
Yes.
I'll let Jeff, if that's okay, I'll let Jeff go over the update for the project. And
Thank you. Good evening. I'm overseeing the Highway 90 project going on right now between LA 14 and LA 83 in Iberia Parish. As everybody knows, that work's been going on since the beginning of the year. We are behind schedule. We had some very good weather, but we also had some mechanical issues. But things are working much smoothly. We are moving at a quicker pace. I'm anticipating the section we're working on now, which people don't know is the eastbound direction. Everybody right now, both lanes of traffic are set up to pass on the westbound side with concrete barriers. We expect the eastbound side to be done mid to end of November. We will then put both lanes of traffic on the newly constructed section, and we'll start working on the other side. The ramps that are currently closed in the eastbound direction will obviously be open, and we'll close the ones on the westbound, so that'll take some adjustment, but we'll make sure the word gets out and the detours are set up. Now, this also creates an issue, which fortunately for us, we're getting near the end of hurricane season, but we still have a few more weeks to be careful with. But this does put a little bit of a hindrance on any projected evacuations that may occur south of our area. We've been in communication with GOSEP and a lot of the parish emergency ops down south, as well as in Iberia Parish, with the parish president and you're a director of operations here in Iberia Parish. So obviously the concern is, where's all these cars going to go when we got two lanes coming at us at a high rate trying to get through one? Well, they're going to go very slow. There's just no other way around it. I mean, the construction, we have concrete barriers. We cannot move them in time. We can make some adjustments to where we can allow some free flow for the detour route that we're going to use. People now who want to go wide loads, people who might live off of 83, realize that we're using 83 as a detour to get the bigger trucks through, and people that want to just avoid the area. We will utilize that route in the event of a hurricane or an evacuation. And we have some triggers that we're going to be monitoring. We have a plan in place. We've met several times with Iberia Sheriff's Department, New Iberia Police Department, Louisiana State Police, and National Guard members that would be brought in if needed to assist with traffic control. We have a plan. We think the plan's going to work. Obviously, we never know if a plan's going to work until we're finished with the operation, and then we'll know at that time. But we're confident that things will work out. The traffic, as people know, whenever you evacuate, everybody usually leaves first thing in the morning, just before sunrise, so we'll expect a heavy delay if it occurs. The last issue we had was down in Morgan City when we were painting the bridge in Morgan City. That was also reduced to one lane. They had about a 5-hour backup, about 4.5 miles. They had no other detour to go, so they just waited in line, but it did move quickly. We got a little bit of flack from it, but construction's construction. It's going to be inconvenient until it's done, but when it's done, it's going to be nice. So you may have some overflow traffic coming through town. Our detour, as traffic backs up and starts backing up toward Darnell Road or beyond toward 85, we'll have some officers and troopers and sheriff's deputies in place to facilitate the traffic movement, to allow as much of the two-lane traffic to go through. Highway 90 will stay open, and then as traffic backs up, we'll put them on the frontage road, bring them around on 83. We'll have law enforcement allow them to cross at Darnell and Lewis Street. There will not be a total shut-off between the New Iberia side and the other side of the Highway 90. They might have to wait a little while on some gaps, but we'll get them through, and if people need to get across, they'll be able to get across. Obviously, emergency vehicles will be able to pass. So it'll be very minimal effect on Iberia Parish or the city of New Iberia. So that's our plan for right now, and we think it's going to work. We don't have any concerns with it. Nick Frugier and his team will have people standing by. We'll control traffic signals. We'll have people to put up barricades and cones and direct people on where to go, and we'll get them in and out of your area, your parish, as quickly as possible. If they want to stop and eat and buy some gas, I'm sure y'all won't mind. But when they finish, we'll get them to where they need to go. Thank you.
I think it's important to note too, just from talking with other parish EOCs and parish presidents, that the biggest thing we can do with the closures that we have is try to evacuate as early as possible, and that's the big thing when we have the. And it's not going to be if something's getting hit in lower New Orleans, it's not going to be the evacuation here. We're going to be counting on parish EOCs there to make that call early enough, try and send some people out a little earlier, because the effect's going to be here from decisions that are made other places. So we are continuing to push that out when we're talking about our plans and everything with GOSEP. So that's a big part of it.
President Risher.
Yeah, if they've done, are you guys done? Any questions?
I don't see any on the board.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I have two additional things I would like to.
Well, before you do that, I want to make a comment when you talked about the fiscal year proposal, 24, for the budget. You and I have been having conversations about the multi-year retention plan, and hopefully another minimum 5% across the board for employees this year. Is that's still the plan, correct?
That is the plan.
And I want to say for the record, I support that wholeheartedly. I think we've got to do something for our employees to kind of keep up
Right.
with the inflation index. We do have a question about, did you want to go and finish and then we'll take questions?
We can't, yeah, because I'm
I'm gonna
almost
come
done.
to you, Paul.
Just want to pass on the Berry Parish litter abatement on August the 26th and September the 29th. Excuse me, September the 9th. We picked up a total of 160 bags of trash and tires and all kinds of things along Alterio Road, Lee Station Road, North Grand Prairie Road, and also Brenda Drive. And I got to tell you, I just want to say, Eugene, because earlier you were talking about the 2023 farmers reauthorization. Some kind of way, all that work that you're doing for the farmers, it needs to get out. It really needs to get out. The type of meetings that you're attending, trying to bring this stuff back to the farmers in Iberia Parish. We need to communicate that particular type of those things that's going on. I see we do have a farmer right here. I'm pretty sure he's aware of what's going on with the 2023. I don't know if all of the farmers are, but it's a big deal, and we need to make the farmers aware, because I know you put a lot of time into that, and those are the type of things that Marcus and I was talking about the other day. When a council member work on something, we need to figure out a way to make the people in our parish understand what's going on. So we're going to have to work closer with council members, so I can get those things from you. But those types of things need to be brought to the general public. And I'm sorry, I'm done with that.
We do have a question by Councilman Landry on the floor. Councilman Paul Landry?
Well, my question was for one of the DOT.
Absolutely. You can still have that.
My question
Mr. Landry, if you can just say it into the mic, and if somebody can step from DOTD to the mic to answer that, just for the public so they can be aware.
Is my hair comb good? I guess I appreciate everything y'all doing, and yes, it does get to be congested over here, but in past hurricanes, what I've seen is a lot of times the issue further down the line is Lafayette. We get over there and you catch some red lights and the traffic's jittery moving, and next thing you know, it's like, do y'all have any plans in place to try to open up the throughway where it flows a lot better?
You want to talk about the opening? Yeah. I mean, we have the ability to control lights at certain extent. I'll let our traffic engineer answer that.
Yeah, on the throughway, everything in the city limits of Lafayette is controlled by the city of Lafayette, and they have communication to all the signals on the throughway. They have preset plans where they can go in and change all the cycle lengths to determine, to change the amount of traffic that's able to flow. So what you've seen 15, 20 years ago, you're not gonna see that in Lafayette. The bottleneck would be here where you're down to one lane. When you 3 lanes on the throughway and they can run 5-minute green times on all the signals, you're not gonna see any delays in that.
Thank you.
Thank you. President Rescher, this is the opportunity for you to close at this point.
I'm good, Mr. Chairman. I know you got some things. I'm going to go back into my office and look at what's going on, and hope you guys have a good remaining of the meeting. Any questions for me?
Wait, I do. I have one by Councilman Pollard.
Yes, right from. Yes, only thing I'm seeing, Larry, we talk about the little abatement, they doing a good job and everything, but I rode down Rip Van Ranker Road for my bus route. If I didn't see 100 tires on the side of the road, they didn't have one. Further down, I went to Delcom to make the round to come back. Someone dumped at least 200 tires in this sugarcane field. I don't know who the farmer is, but he was out there with the sheriff department that morning, and I know it was at least 200 tires there, plus 100 on Rip Van Ranker. So I mean, if anybody sees something like this, please report these people. I mean, it just dirtying up the parish, and let these people have their own responsibility for getting rid of those tires.
Constantly being done, and we work with the sheriff department. It's just hard to, I guess it's just hard to know what time someone's gonna leave with their trailer at night and go drop off some tires in a farm.
Look into putting some cameras up there that'll monitor what's on the road, because we just continue.
Oh yeah, it's a big problem.
Forever picking up trash.
Yeah, and they all end up at Public Works.
Councilman Pollard,
So
will you
we
finish?
have our Public Works crew that's out picking up tires when they can be doing additional work, of course, but it's a bad thing. And it's not only tires. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have a lot of tires, but they just throwing mattress and everything else all over the place in the parish. I had a conversation with the sheriff last week or a couple of weeks ago on that Medoro. um, going from maybe, I think it's Lander Drive, heading toward 3212, nothing but trash on both sides of the road. And so we have come to a conclusion, the sheriff and I, we think we know where that's coming from. So I got to get with the sheriff, and he's going to go and address something with that. He's going to go and address that.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
The gentleman yields back. Hearing no further requests to speak, we'll move on to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. We have the minutes of regular meeting of August 23rd, 2023. Summary number 160, introduced by Eugene Olivier of District 10. Madam Clerk.
A resolution of condolences to the family of Deidre Brown Batiste, daughter of Iberia Parish Councilmember Lloyd Brown, who passed away on August 19th, 2023.
Summary number 161, introduced by the parish president.
A resolution of condolences to the family of Gene Wiley Romero Sr., father of Iberia Parish Public Works Assistant Director Gene Wiley Romero Jr., who passed away on August 26th.
Summary number 162, introduced by Eugene Olivier, District 10.
A resolution in support of Operation Green Light for veterans in Iberia Parish through October through Veterans Day, November 12, 2023, through Iberia Parish, and to join NACO in lighting municipal buildings green.
Summary number 163, introduced by the parish president.
A resolution amending the 2023 Road District Number 10 fund budget in the amount of $50,000 to reallocate previously allocated funding from ARPA road repair work to ARPA Mullins Road Bridge project.
Do I have a motion to open the consent agenda items? I have that motion by Councilman Landry and a second by Councilman Olivier. Councilman Landry on discussion.
I waive.
Councilman Landry waives. Councilman Olivier on discussion.
I'd like to remove summary number 162 for
For
further
what purpose does the
discussion.
gentleman request to
I'd like to
remove?
make a presentation to the veteran that's here tonight.
Without objection. Anyone else to remove a consent agenda item? Hearing none, with the exception of 162, roll call members, vote your machines on the consent agenda items. The top right, top left. Roll call vote, members. Councilman Landry. One more time. Paul Landry. That motion is adopted. Summary number 162, introduced by Eugene Olivier, District 10. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Councilman Olivier. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Rawson. Councilman Olivier on discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Each year we come together as a nation on Veteran Day to honor and celebrate the hundreds of thousands of brave Americans who have served our country in uniform. Now more than ever, our veterans need our support. In a time when our country is divided in so many issues, we can all agree that those individuals who risk everything to protect our country and our way of life deserve our support and gratitude. That's why this year Iberia Parish is joining with our colleagues across the nation to participate in the Operation Green Light for veterans by shining a green light for the service of our veterans and their families. As part of the Operation Green Light for Veterans, Iberia Parish is illuminating our courthouse green beginning on November the 6th through the 12th, 2023. And we encourage individuals and businesses to join us by changing one light bulb in the entranceway of your house or business to a green bulb. By shining a green light, we let veterans know that they are seen, appreciated, and supported. Operation Greenlight is also an opportunity to raise awareness of the resources available to veterans and their families. Throughout the year, our parish, through the New Iberia Office of Louisiana Veterans Affairs, helping them manage employment needs, doctor appointments, as well as helping them find veteran peers who can assist with them with their transaction back to civilian life. This Veteran Day, honor our veterans by shining a green light in their support. And at this time, Mr. Chairman, I'd like all the veterans to come forward to the middle right here. I have a light bulb for them, if they may.
Absolutely.
You want to take them out that bag?
If we can, just to have each veteran state the branch you were served in. Of course, Mr. Leslie, we've gotten you already. Oh.
Do it up here.
sure the rain too.
About to knock it over.
All right, gentlemen. Green light on the approval.
Good job.
Councilman Olivier, you finished?
I'm done, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
The gentleman yields back. Councilman Rawson on discussion.
No, I just wanted to second what was said so far and thank all the veterans. Not only thank y'all for coming tonight, but thank y'all for your service.
Absolutely. Hearing no other discussion, roll call vote, members, on 162. Vote your machines.
Something's up.
Councilman Brown, Councilman Broussard, Councilman Brown. That motion carries unanimously. Moving on to ordinances introduced for public hearing and adoption, we have summary number 5254, introduced by the clerk of the council. Madam Clerk?
An ordinance revising existing precinct boundaries and authorizing the merging of certain qualifying precincts in Iberia Parish as a result of the 2023 precinct survey that identified those precincts with fewer than 300 active voters in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 18532.1, which ordinance shall become effective for the 2024 election cycle as allowed by law.
Do I have a motion? Have a motion by Councilman Michael Landry, a second by Councilman Trahan. Councilman Landry on discussion.
Waive.
Councilman Landry waives. Councilman Trahan on discussion.
Waive.
Councilman Trahan waives. Hearing no other discussion, members, roll call. Vote your machines. Councilman Brown. We have to get some new batteries in that mouse.
That's what it is. We have to check it.
Have to get him touchscreen next.
I'll tell you what.
And that motion is, passes unanimously. Moving on to resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption, we have summary number 154, introduced by Eugene Olivia, District 10. Madam Clerk?
$164.
164, I'm sorry.
A resolution urging the United States Secretary of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to implement the existing measures to limit the overall volume of imported shrimp in America in order to ensure the survival of our domestic wild-caught shrimp harvesters and America's access to wild-harvested shrimp from domestic waters, and urging the commissioners of the International Trade Commission, when considering imports, to include all forms of shrimp from all countries and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I have a motion by Councilman Olivier. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Landry. Councilman Olivier on discussion.
Yeah, just a quick review. I put this resolution on here because the shrimping industry has been devastated in Louisiana by the influx of Chinese shrimp. The influx of imported shrimp into America has resulted in a catastrophic collapse of our domestic shrimping industry. Many boat owners, operators have been docked, thereby creating sufficient challenges to our local economy and the countless individuals who rely on this sector. Import shrimp now distributed hubs are in America's market at a level that voids the margin of the market that domestic harvests are able to fulfill. If action is not taken, small families, fishing businesses, owners will go under. Import shrimp into our market has caused drastic and economic instability for our local shrimping producers, and I'll call for a unanimous second on this motion if possible.
I'll hold that floor for that. Councilman Eugene Olivier yields back. Councilman Michael Landry is recognized.
And that was my motion to make a unanimous second.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Olivier for unanimous second. Is there any objection to that? Hearing none, roll call, members, on a unanimous second on 164. Councilman Brown? Got to get therapy on that arm, Mr. Brown. That motion carries unanimously. Moving on to ordinances introduced for publication, there is none. Just to remind the general public, our next meeting is September 27th, 2023, and that we still have adjudicated properties on Civic Source that can be found on the Iberia Parish government website. I need a motion to adjourn. I have that by Councilman Landry. And for what purpose does the gentleman rise? It's not on there. No, it's 164. It's the last one. No problem. I have a motion by Councilman Landry, a second by Councilman Trahall on adjournment. Roll call vote on adjournment. Vote your machines, members. Councilman Brown. We gave him 2 weeks off. That motion carries unanimously. We're now adjourned.